Nintendo Switch!
How's it going, everybody? It's Young here, and welcome to a Nintendo Switch news update. The following information comes from a YouTube channel that goes by the name of Drunk Tech Review, where Muhammad Alavi, senior designer over at Respawn, the developer behind Titanfall, stopped by to share his thoughts about the Nintendo Switch. I first found out about this through an article that website IGN posted about this. So the story is that when asked about the possibility of Titanfall coming to Nintendo Switch, Alavi immediately laughed it off with the following answer.
I'm not drinking to it.
No, I thought you were actually.
No.
And you just refilled your glass.
I did. I'm gonna tell you, I was excited about it because Nintendo's been in such a niche market recently, like, you know, catering to like the handheld and like, I'm gonna be honest with you, the kids, they've been so underpowered that they don't have the support of the third parties because they're all, you know, making for PC, Xbox One, and PS4.
Okay.
And that's huge.
And it's no different.
Like, I'm not gonna be able to play Titanfall on it.
No, fuck no.
Can you tell me?
Well, they're not.
No, you're not gonna be able to play
Titanfall.
Titanfall.
No, seriously, no.
That's the same Zelda from the Wii
Come on,
U.
man. We have an audience here. Can I play Titanfall 2 on the Switch?
No.
Okay.
So yeah, at a glance, this looks pretty rough. But what IGN didn't report is the 13 minutes leading up to this, along with a few other key facts. So first things first, and this is important, everyone in this video is drunk. No, like seriously, they started out drunk and they only got drunker as their discussion continued. There's a reason why the YouTube channel is called Drunk Tech Review. Being drunk is kind of the whole point of this channel. Perhaps even more important is the fact that all of these people, including Alavi, seem to be watching the Switch trailer for the first time. If you check out their video for yourself, you'll see them react to the trailer as if they had never seen the console before.
That's interesting.
Oh!
Yeah.
They like fucking popped it on, took it off, and it didn't skip a beat. That's pretty cool.
No.
That's pretty cool.
Okay, and that doesn't exist.
So one can only assume that all of the comments that Alavi makes throughout this video are solely based on his first impressions from having watched the trailer for the first time. What this tells me is that Respawn hasn't actually had the chance to get their hands on a Switch dev kit and haven't tested if it is indeed possible to port a game like Titanfall 2 over to the Switch. In other words, Alavi's claims in this video seem completely unreliable. Not to mention that Alavi is not a spokesperson for EA or Respawn. He's just a guy who is a part of Respawn's dev team, and just because he spouted out that he doesn't see Titanfall coming to the Switch doesn't make it true, especially when it seems quite clear that he hasn't even gotten his hands on the device yet. Now let's also look at things from the other side. There's definitely no denying that there's a scarcity of third-party titles in the Switch's currently announced launch lineup and upcoming titles. Now, Respawn is a part of EA, and yet, despite EA's announcement that they would be supporting the Switch, there is no indication of major titles like Mass Effect Andromeda or Titanfall 2 being ported over to Nintendo's new console. All EA has announced for the Switch so far is a FIFA game, which is neat, but certainly not something that offers confidence that Switch will receive extensive third-party support, since EA usually releases FIFA for everything, including dedicated portable consoles. Also, outside of EA, a few days ago, when a fan asked Gearbox Software CEO Randy Pitchford about the possibility of Borderlands 3 possibly coming to the Switch, his response was, "I do not see that as happening. We were talking to Nintendo, but that stopped for some reason. They have other priorities." So while I don't trust the words of Muhammad Alavi from Respawn based on the fact that he's drunk, has only just seen the Switch trailer for the first time, has yet to get his hands on a dev kit unit, and doesn't actually speak for anyone on an official capacity, I certainly can't look past the fact that third-party developers seem to be jumping ship early, which is concerning. Is it because Nintendo isn't reaching out to them efficiently? Are they not effectively communicating the capabilities of the Switch to third-party developers? Or maybe it's because developers are biding their time to see how the Switch does before fully committing? Or is it simply a matter of the Switch not being powerful enough to run many of these games despite supporting modern-day game engines like Unreal Engine 4 and Unity? Hard to say for sure, but there is cause for concern, and I really do hope that Nintendo addresses them soon before both developers and consumers begin to lose confidence. I really don't want the Switch to be a repeat of the Wii U in terms of software. Don't get me wrong, I love Nintendo's first-party titles and all, and I get that first-party Nintendo titles is all Nintendo fans need, but if you want the console to succeed and sell tens of millions of units like the PS4 and Xbox One, it needs to draw in other crowds, and releasing a constant stream of AAA third-party titles is pivotal to make that happen. Hopefully, Switch sales will pick up early and encourage third parties to port their high-profile games over. Now, it's very clear that if these games were to be ported over to the Switch, they would never look as good as they would on PS4 and Xbox One, but keep in mind that you'd be gaining the ability to take games like Titanfall 2, Mass Effect Andromeda, or Borderlands 3 on the go and to easily link up with other players for on-demand local multiplayer. These are features unique to the Switch that are definitely compelling on some level. But I think developers first have to wait and see if the Switch's hybrid concept resonates with consumers. I honestly do think that if Switch ends up selling really well, developers will go out of their way to port some of their PS4 or Xbox One games over to the Switch, even if at the sacrifice of some graphical fidelity. At the very least, the messaging of the Switch is very compelling and clear from the get-go. It's a home console that you can take on the go, and its hardware has received a lot of positive feedback, and these are two things that Wii U never had, so Switch already has a significant head start over Wii U. But still, at the end of the day, software is what sells a console, and Nintendo can't afford to lose valuable third-party support from studios like Respawn, BioWare, and Gearbox if they intend to succeed. Unfortunately, Nintendo has yet to reassure that Nintendo Switch will be a great consumer proposition as far as third-party titles is concerned. But we'll have to wait and see. I think E3 2017 will be pivotal for Switch. If they can't blow us away with an awesome lineup, it's gonna be pretty rough. But anyway, what do you think about Muhammad Alavi's comments regarding the Switch? What do you think it'll take for major third parties like Respawn to jump on board the Switch bandwagon? Let us know in the comments below, and to be further updated on all things Nintendo Switch, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out!